I keep sitting back and saying, okay, if it's all about Aaron Rodgers, and if you're telling me he's the quote-unquote best quarterback in football, then I'm going to tell you that through last year and through the first 2 games of this year, overrated and overhyped. If he's that good, I'm saying I'll believe it when I see it, and I don't see it enough. Last night, I saw the 2 fourth-quarter turnovers. I saw him hold the ball too long trying to throw the home run, which he too often does.
He does.
They actually gave him pretty good protection last night against a fierce pass rush and some fierce blitzes. And he holds it, and he holds it, and he tries to do this, and he tries to do that. I'm going to beat you with my feet. And he gets stripped. And it was a huge play in the game. And then, as I see too often from Aaron Rodgers, he's so cool. He gets so cute on some throws. I think I'll just do this. And it gets picked off by the one guy who he was torching the whole game. And I'm saying, show me something. There were 2 other careless fumbles on his part that they were very lucky to recover. I watched much of the game at Jacksonville on opening Sunday, and he struggled all game. They struggled all game. They barely beat Jacksonville 27-23. Jacksonville goes to San Diego yesterday and gets annihilated 38-14, and it wasn't even that close. So what am I supposed to say? He's great. Look, he can't even carry Tom Brady's shoes. Listen. This guy is overrated.
Monday.
Yeah, no, it's not overreaction. He's not Tom Brady. Can we just get that straight once and for all? All I heard, he didn't have Jordy Nelson last year, so he's had him back, and now I'm hearing, well, they haven't gotten their chemistry back, their rhythm back. Baloney, they haven't. He stunk it up, as he often does against a Mike Zimmer defense last night. They scored 14 total points, and they lost by 3 to their arch rival, their division rival, the team that won their division last year.
I think it's a combination. Because if you look at when they won the Super Bowl, Dom Capers had a top 10 scoring defense and a top 10 total defense. They've been nowhere near the top 10 since. And their lies, you said the Packers are 3-5 in the playoffs since their Super Bowl win. Now, Aaron Rodgers, he is very, very casual with the football. The last one he had the ball down here. I mean, he carried it like a loaf of bread. 2 others, as you mentioned, and that throw that got picked, he makes that throw 9 times out of 10. He needs to get it more outside. Hey, he knows that. He didn't play particularly well, but it's their defense because I'm looking at Dom Capers' defense, and he has, Clay Matthews running all around him. But on the back end, they're not very good, Michael. They're not very good on the back end.
They're not that bad.
Yes, they are.
I would say this. To me, there's an old adage in football, if you don't have tendencies, you can't be any good. And I agree with that. And I think the Packers take that to an extreme. Okay? I think the Packers rely so much on their players and not their plays that they put the burden of responsibility of the offense on Aaron Rodgers, and they are an easier offense to defend. And when Randall Cobb is slightly less than what he should be, and if Jordy Nelson is slightly less than what he should be, and they don't have another receiver, or they don't have the back they need, or the tight end, I think it shows up on Aaron Rodgers' plate. And I think he's asked to do more. I think the scheme leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of creativity, in terms of being able to utilize their personnel, because they are a player organization. It's about players there. And I think when you compare him to Tom Brady and he can't hold his shoes, I would only say this to you, Skip. Brady's schemes, the scheme for Brady utilizes plays and players. And I think Aaron Rodgers' scheme is all about players. And I think that becomes a burden on him. And I think if you gave him truth serum, he would probably share the same things. He's not going to say it publicly, but I think he would. And I think that when you go play them, it's D-slant, it's this, by formation what they're going to do. Now, I say that, I'm talking out both sides of my mouth here, because I started this off by saying it's critical to have tendencies in football. You got to be able to say, you know what, we can do this. This is what we're going to do. But in basketball, when you become a team that doesn't move the ball around in basketball, everybody knows it. In football, it's much more difficult. You don't realize the scheme set. So they don't run a lot of things to utilize their players. They have every new player there. So I think Aaron Rodgers somewhat is asked to do more than a lot of guys. And
so
I think
you're
it
saying
shows
he's
up.
Handicapped by Mike McCarthy?
I'm saying,
because he's the offensive coordinator.
Correct. What I'm saying is the scheme doesn't allow the play. Like, they don't have a scheme that will enable other players to go. They're going to rely on their talent. Jordy's going to get open on this route. Okay, we're going to throw the ball here to Cobb on this route. We're not going to run a pick play and run motions. We're not going to create situations like Pittsburgh does or New England does. And I think it hampers
Well, they
Aaron
went and
Rodgers.
got Jared Cook, and now they got two top.
Well, Cook had a
Rodgers,
first down, then
okay.
he runs back behind the,
Right.
All right, but you
but
got
again,
two. You got him another
and
weapon.
They had 4th and 1.
It's pretty
and they
good.
And they try to run the ball from an open formation. They got 4th and 1, and they got the back parallel with, and they try to hand on the inside zone play, and they get stuff. Skip, at some point in time,
You know what?
stop trying to be cute. Just line up, hand the ball to Eddie.
You're just
Lacy.
mad because you picked the Packers.
I really think that the Packers have to diversify their portfolio. I really think they need to expand it, and I think it's a dilemma because Aaron Rodgers is so talented, and they have a lot of talent around them that they have to move away from players and get a little bit more into plays. And I think as a defensive coordinator, I think you see them and you say, wow, it's going to be a challenge. But even what you talked about, Jacksonville, who I think is one of the most overrated teams in football.
They are.
Okay, everybody predicts them to win the cup every year, and then they can't do anything. The reality of it is I think Jacksonville could play them. And when Jacksonville, which is a cover 3 team, can play them well, then you got to handle that. You got some problems.
Okay, but year after year, Tom Brady has taken a bunch of guys who we've never heard of and turned them into star receivers. He's done it behind an offensive line that is makeshift and patchwork at best.
But what they do better than anybody, and Pittsburgh does it as well, and I don't want to be a New England homer on this show, but what they do better than anybody, and so is Pittsburgh, and so does other teams, is football is not just a linear game. It's an adjustment game. And so what the Patriots do is they attack the adjustments within the coverage. If we line up in this formation, we know you're going to do that. We know your check is this, and we're going to run this play that handles that check.
Okay, that takes a smart trigger man.
It's a
on the
chess
fly.
match.
Yes,
It's a chess match.
it is.
And so what I'm saying, the element that's missing in Green Bay's offense is just that. We're going to line up in this. We think you're going to be – they're a coverage-based offense, not an adjustment-based offense. I hope I'm clear with that. So that's what they're trying to do. And I think what happens is when I call it battleship football, okay? Battleship football is simply this. K5, miss. G3, hit. Okay, let's go G4. It becomes you just run plays. Okay, they're in cover 3, we have a cover 3 beater. They're in cover 2, we have a cover 2 beater. I don't think that works against the really good teams because they know how to take away your plays. And what the Packers don't do is attack the adjustments. They attack the coverage.